How's it going out there, internet land? This is Bob. You know, I've raised a lot of videos, like about four, talking about how, first of all, it was pretty much like, in case you're wondering, because a lot of times I'll look through videos here and say, you know, who are you? Who is this person? Trying to assess video. You know, me. I was starting to think about if I was to do a bio. You know, just this guy. I used to skate this elementary school by my house. And but I was thinking like more in depth. I mean, there really is kind of a long list of my achievements, so on and so forth. But I was gonna give an art lesson on here, and I was talking about how I used to skate this elementary school by my house, right? Amongst other places, abroad and around the world and da 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 da. But it started off there, and it was funny is because, in my I also do art on the side, and also I'm looking for actually an assistant or maybe talent, preferably female. And I can get you some pay, but that's another story. If you're interested in that, leave a contact. But one time, I was up and I was feeling real good, I was feeling really good, feeling real good. I was up all night, and I went up there. I skated up there, and I had this marker or I had this pen, with me, and I was gonna do this drawing on this big like door, this big blue door, right? And it started off to be kind of just like totem pole shaped, or like a tiki pole shaped, or could even been a crucifix. And there was like these branches or like wings coming off of it. And it just like said some different things, and it just turned out to be really stupid. It was like probably one of my biggest failures in art. And I couldn't really redo it at that time because I did it in ink. So I said I'm gonna redo this drawing, and I started to reassess it and redo it, and it turned out to be a really powerful piece, and something that I really started to get kind of, you know, excited, I guess, or I was really kind of getting into it, at how much better it was to go back and redo it and reassess, some of the things that I was trying to kind of address in it in the first place. So I think that should be a big part of the first lesson, is like, maybe taking, a bad idea you've had or one that was like a failure or it wasn't all that, that you really kind of wanted it to be. It wasn't really like, I don't know, whatever. And then maybe, redoing it. I think maybe that might be the first thing. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna look. I got my. Look at this shirt too. This is a picture of my dad on the shirt. Look. You can't really see it. You can't really see it, but anyways, I'm gonna be doing this lesson. This is like probably like the fifth time I put it off. you know. And I swear, I swear to God, I'll get around to doing it, you know. And like I said before, I kind of, I'm kind of looking for talent, you know. I need an assistant, preferably female. I can get you some pay, you know, if you know how to draw. If you have any kind of artistic inclinations, or if it's just something that interests you, you know, not for the show, not for me doing this lesson, actually for something else. But please leave a contact, you know, and maybe I can get back to you, and I'll also get back to this lesson. So, till next time.